this type of problem would be basically them giving you the answers and asking you to find an equation. Write a polynomial given the following roots. Remember, roots are the same thing as zeros, same things as x-intercepts, and same things as solutions, right? So this is kind of like, instead of them saying, find all the roots, kind of like what we did in our first series of videos, like these kind of things, right? It's kind of going from your answer to an equation, kind of like working backwards, okay? Now, I don't like these personally because they're not really, they're not necessarily hard, they're just time consuming, okay? So, let's kind of go over what I talked about in the class, okay? Well, they give me two zeros, two roots to start with, but remember when I have an I there, that I always have to assume there's not only a positive version of it, but there's also a negative version of it. So really, they're kind of hiding something from us. So not only is there going to be a positive 6i, but there's also going to be a negative 6i, okay? The reason why is because, again, remember when a quadratic formula, we had that plus or minus in between. There's always going to be a positive version and negative version when we have our imaginaries, okay? So really, these are our roots we're going to use, okay? So basically, we're going to do the same thing we kind of did before for these. We're going to write x, one of our factors, all right, will be x minus 6i. Remember how I usually do this? I literally just put an x in front of my root, my solution, and switch the sign. That's all I do. Put an x in front, switch the sign. All right. Now here comes the tedious part. Is actually the multiplying out, the distributing. All right. So let's go ahead and do this. Now before I do this, let's think about this. How many, when I kind of modified this to what I circled in red, how many solutions do I have? Well, I have 1, 2, 3 solutions, right? So what should my highest power be? Well, my highest power should be something to the third, x to the third. Okay. Let's see if we're right. All right. Let's do some distributing. All right. Enough said. Enough talking. All right. I'm going to distribute those first two things out. X times x is x squared. Okay, x times the 6i, I'm going to write like this, 6ix, okay? With me so far, just those first two sets of arrows. I'm just doing the left side for now, all right? Then these two sets of arrows, negative 6i times an x, well, that would be negative 6ix. You're going to see something about to happen in just a second here. Negative 6i times the 6i will be negative 36i to the second power, because remember when you multiply i's together, they kind of sort of act like x's and other letters, all right? What's going to cancel out here? Well, the 6ix's are going to cancel out because one is positive, the other is negative. Now, be careful. I'm just doing the left side, okay? Haven't done this right side yet. I will in a minute. That I squared, I'm going to drop down everything I see first of all, just for a second. When I have an I squared, it's the same thing as having a negative 1, because I'll prove it to you right now. If I do I to the second power in the calculator, I will get a negative 1, okay? All right. So x squared minus 36 times a negative 1. Now, if you're kind of used to this by now, you kind of the trick what I said. But 36, if you do two negatives, right, think of that negative 36 times a negative 1, that'll switch to a positive 36, okay? Remember what I said in class, you don't have to write down this little intermediate step right here. You don't have to write down this step right here, okay? Because I've said a lot of times in class that you don't need this, because if you can figure it out in your head, if you can just remember that all it does is switch the sign, you're good, okay? So you don't need this step right here, not at all. Okay, you do not need that step right there. It's a dinky little arrow. There we go, that's better. All right, so that means these two sets of parentheses all become this x squared plus 36. But what did I forget? I forgot my little x plus 2 over there. So I'm going to write that over here. I'm going to go multiply this thing out. All right, I'm going to multiply this whole thing out. Let's distribute again, all right? All right, distributing all this lovely stuff. X squared times x, well, that's x to the third. Oh, look, my premonition came true, right? My hypothesis was true, all right? Then we have an x squared times a 2. That's 2x squared. Just put those two things together. 36 times x is just 36x. Lastly, 36 times 2, that'll just be a 72. And I'm done. Now, some people in one of my classes, actually all my classes for the most part, wanted to say, once they got to here, they wanted to actually go through the whole thing and do graph it, synthetic division, but we don't have to, because really, we're working backwards, right? We start off with 3, actually, they gave us 2, but we had to assume there was 3, right? Start off with 3 roots, and we got to basically work our way backwards and just do distributing until we get to this, x cubed plus 2x squared plus 36x plus 72, all right? Let me do a bit of a different one here, okay? All right, I'm going to do this one real fast, all right? So, remember what I said before is that when we got that anything with an I, we got to assume there's a positive and a negative version of it, okay? We got to assume there's a positive and negative version of it. And actually, I'm going to add one more number into here. Negative 6 out front is what I'm going to add, okay? So my negative 6, positive 6, and 2 plus 2i. Now, not only am I going to have that 2 plus 2i, but I'm also going to have a negative version of it. So, 2 plus 2i, but the negative version, quote unquote, is a 2 minus a 2i, okay? That's the way it's always going to be, okay? Because remember, your imaginary part's always going to have a positive version and negative version to it. So, how many different types of roots do I have here? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So my highest exponent should be x to the 4th, so a good bit of distributing going on, okay? All right, let's get this thing started. Let's do this whole thing. Remember, just put an x in front of it and switch the sign. That gives me my factor, okay? So given a root, we're working our way from roots to our factors here, all the way to our equation, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and distribute this thing. If I just switch a sign of this, that positive 2 changes to a negative 2, and that positive 2i also changes to a negative 2i, okay? All I'm doing is literally putting x in front of it and switching. Now this case is all the signs. I'm switching all the signs I see, okay? Ooh, that doesn't fit very well. Hopefully you can see that. X plus 6, x minus 6, and then the x minus 2 minus 2i, x minus 2 plus 2i. All right, I'm going to do the right side first because it's a bit of the harder one, so I'm going to do that first. So I'm going to distribute everything. There's a lot of distributing going on, okay? So x times x. I'm going to do these 3 arrows right here. X times x is x squared. Okay? X times a negative 2 is negative 2x. And x times a 2i is plus 2ix. I will say it like that, okay? With me so far? I really hope you are. That's just the first 3 sets of arrows, okay? Now I'm going to do this next set of arrows. Negative 2 times all this junk, okay? Negative 2 times an x is negative 2x, again. Negative 2 times negative 2, well, 2 negatives make a positive, and 2 times 2 is a 4. With me so far? Then negative 2 times a positive 2i is a negative 4i, okay? All right, I'm going to have to, hopefully I'll have enough room to write this whole thing, okay? Lastly, I'm going to draw this one in pencil to kind of differentiate. Let's do these last arrows. So the negative 2i times all those other things. Negative 2i times x is negative 2ix. Negative 2i times a negative 2 is a plus 4i. And lastly, negative 2i times a positive 2i be negative 4i to the 2nd power. Okay. Whew, that's a big one. All right, let's see what's going to cancel out because it's actually going to end up looking a lot prettier than this. Well, I have a positive 2ix over here. Do I have any other 2ix's? Aha, I do right there. That's a negative version, so those two are going to cancel out. You shouldn't have any i's in your final answer, okay? I'll say that again. You shouldn't have any i's in your final answer, all right? I have a negative 4i here and a positive 4i there. They both cancel out. All right, let's combine some like terms from there. Negative 2x, negative 2x. Anything else I see? Not quite yet, but you're going to see some in just a second. Negative 2x minus 2x would be negative 4x. Don't have any i's. I've got the plus 4 right there. I just dropped that thing down. Negative, and then minus 4i to the 2nd power. Okay. All right. Well, remember what I said last time, that little trick I said. I squared just switches the sign. Okay, it switches the sign of the number in front. So instead of having a negative 4, I'll have a positive 4, okay? Let's write that down right quick now. So it just switches the sign. I squared just switches the sign. All right, let's combine like terms one last time on this side. 4 plus a 4 is an 8. All right, so we got from all this stuff up here, multiplied everything out, distributed everything, canceled a bunch of i's out, combined like terms a second time, right? So this is these two sets for parentheses simplified down to here. But what did I have on the left side? Oh gosh, I had all this stuff to deal with. It's all right, don't worry. It's going to end up looking a lot prettier than you think. X times x is x squared. X times a negative 6 is negative 6x. 6 times an x is a positive 6x. And 6 times a negative 6 is a negative 36. Just distributing, okay? I'm actually going to draw a little line in between these two so you can differentiate between the two just for a little bit, okay? All right. Well, combine like terms. Negative 6x and the 6x both cancel out. And I just have x squared minus 36. Beautiful. And I'm gonna go ahead and say, well, if this is my left side and this is my right side, I still gotta distribute yet again, okay? So I'm gonna kind of scoot down just a little bit and kind of write both of my answers down here. And distribute another time. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of these because it's not really much, I mean, it gets us a little, it's just kind of tedious and there's bound to be just one small little mistake in there, but it's all good. All right, let's keep on going. Let's not give up just yet. All right. X squared times x squared, well, that's x to the 4th. With me so far, I'm still distributing. Just a lot of distributing is what these problems are. All right. Then x squared times a negative 4x. Well, that's negative 4x to the 3rd, right? Because when you multiply x's together, it's like you're adding the powers, right? Okay. Because remember, that was x squared times a negative 4x. You add the powers together. Okay. Lastly, x squared times a positive 8. Well, just positive 8x squared. Okay. All right. Then let's do this, keep on going, do this side. Negative 36 times x squared is just negative 36x squared. Negative 36 times a negative 4x. Ooh, I can't do that in my head for some reason. Negative 36 times a negative 4. It's a positive 144. So plus 144x, because remember I multiplied those two together, right? That didn't have an x, but that definitely had an x, so I had to shove one down there. And then lastly, negative 36 times an 8. Just double check. Negative 288. Hopefully you guys can see that. Negative 288. All right, one last thing to do. Combine like terms. Let's see, don't have any other x to the fourth, don't have any other x cubes. Hey, I got an x squared right here and right here. All right, let's combine those two x squareds together. I have an x to the fourth. Let's drop all this junk down. That would end up being, I think it's like 20, shoot, I don't want to say it without, 28, that's what I meant to say. Negative 28 x squared. Drop those, that 144x down, and last but not least, drop that 288 down. Okay, so, long one. Okay, like I said, not really that hard, just time consuming, okay? So this would be what you did. Now, what you did here, you went all the way from here, from your 4 solutions. They gave you 3, but remember you said there's not only is there a positive version of that little 2 plus 2i, but there's also a negative version, the 2 minus 2i, right? Right here and here. Then you just multiplied everything out. Now, the reason why I grouped it like this is because, you know, if you group up stuff that looks kind of the same, things are going to end up canceling out and actually be easier for you, okay? That's why I grouped these sets together, did them, and then I grouped these 2 sets together and did them, okay? And then after that, we said, well, that's what my left side is and that's what my right side is. Let's multiply them both together because they're all being multiplied. It's just one giant set of distributing and combining like terms, okay? And this is my final answer right there, circled in red at the bottom. I think that's all I really have to show you. I think I went over just about every kind of really difficult concept. Hopefully that helps. Remember, if you have any questions, email me, message me, whatever you got to do. But yeah, I'll see you guys Monday.